Headlights woke me, shining down the path through the bamboo forest, between the upper and lower parking lots at Cherrywood Pool. Luckily, the glare didn't reach the bench where I'd fallen asleep. Like a tide that rolls up a beach and drops back short, leaving your towel dry, white light flooded one end of the walk, but kept me in darkness. I slipped to the ground, hugged my swim bag to my chest, and squeezed in among the tall, gray-green bamboo poles. I was cold. My Sharks team suit, t-shirt, and shorts were still damp, and the air temperature had dropped. I didn't remember falling asleep, but I remembered not wanting to go home after swim practice, and not knowing where else to go to avoid watching my dad move out. A car door opened. Loud static clipped on and off from a radio. The words were too fuzzy to make out, but the cloudy syllables said clearly, "Police Cruiser." According to older kids on the team, high schoolers like to party here. So I waited for the police to decide there were no teenagers and leave. The trouble teenagers could get into, the kind police might be looking for, was about as unclear in my head at that point as the sounds of the radio, even though I was going to turn into a teenager in only 2 weeks, the day after school got out, in mid-June. All I cared about now was to avoid people and questions keeping me from carrying out the plan I'd come up with. People I knew who'd say, "Alice, what are you doing alone at the pool in the middle of the night?" And people I didn't who'd ask the same thing, especially police who, of course, would make me go home. Each burst from the radio, the dark air absorbed like a sponge. This went on a couple of minutes. Burst and sponge, burst and sponge. Finally, the volume turned down, or maybe off, and I imagined they were listening from the car. New sounds seemed to rise up to fill in the quiet. A hum from the 8-lane Washington, D.C. beltway bordering the pool property, below a steep hill, a pulse of crickets chorusing nearer, an uneasy, uneven insect music that played the mood I was in better than I could have answered what it was in words. And footsteps. Someone got out of the car without closing the door. Swimming trains you to discipline your breathing and enlarges your lung capacity. I controlled my inhales and exhales to make them silent, while a flashlight beam waved over the bamboo.